So please, in standing, take a moment to check in with how your feet are contacting the floor. The right foot compared to the left foot. Does one foot seem to have a little more arch, a little more lift away from the ground? Are you inclined towards standing over one foot a little bit more? So shift your pelvis and head to stand over one foot. That'll just lift the other foot a little bit. And then come back and go back to the same foot you just did. Just go back there and feel how well do you get tall on that foot. Can you get tall? Like if you were like, you know, being measured for your height, what's your capacity to push into the ground to go up into space, upward, vertically? And then come back to both feet. And now do that on the other side. And is the second side also easily accessible to get your full height, or are you a little bit, in some way, not quite as tall as you could be? And notice how you're breathing, by the way. Shift slowly from one side to the other and observe how your breath, what do you do? When you stand on the leg, do you breathe in? Do you breathe out? Do you change your breath as you shift from one foot to the other? When do you breathe in? When do you breathe out? So we all have a history with our legs, our feet, our knees, our pelvis. And in some way, some of that history is showing itself in your capacity to push into the ground and get taller. It's called the ground reactive force. But one side, it's easier to get taller than the other. Can you feel that? You're doing that all day as you're walking, if you're walking. But here we're breaking it down to this very small noticing of one side compared to the other. And we're doing this so that we can compare how it is after having done this lesson. So please now come and lay on your back. Fred, can you put your head the other way?
Anastasia, I'm so sorry. Is my head towards the window or the other way?
I would like your head toward the window, if that's okay. So your feet are away from me. That's it. Good. Excellent. And if you have glasses on, take them off. I'm keeping mine on so that I can see you. And now, as you rest there, you can have your legs long or bent. I don't mind. Whatever you're comfortable with. And now I'm muting all of you. But if you need to speak to me, just wave and I'll know. And as you rest there, pay attention to how the right foot, the heel or the sole of the foot meets the floor compared to the left. Do you notice if one foot is more turned out? Like the little toe points away from where the heel is resting? And then observe the back of your knees, the back of your thighs. And then pay attention to the whole pelvis. The pelvis is the biggest bony part of you. It's not the biggest bone is your upper leg bone, the longest bone, but the most mass is in your pelvis. It has the right and the left side, and the end of your spine, the sacrum, and your tailbone is all contained in your pelvis. So how is your pelvis resting? The bowl of your pelvis. It's really not a flat structure, it's rounded, but you can feel maybe there's more pressure on the right or the left. And then observe from the pelvis down to your foot on the right, make a line, and then go from the left side of your pelvis down to your left foot. Again, an imaginary line in your mind's eye of your two legs and the pelvis. And now from the pelvis, with whatever you notice of how it's resting, you pay attention to your lower back. How much space or lack of space do you feel there? Maybe the right side has more space than the left. And then there are your ribs resting on the floor, right and left of your spine. And observe if there's a little more pressure on one side of your spine than the other. Just the firmness of the floor gives you feedback in terms of the weight and the pressure between your ribs and the ground. And then observe your right and left shoulder. Is one more on the floor than the other? And observe where your hands are resting, whether you have your hands with the palms toward the floor, with the palms facing you, or with the palms toward the ceiling in front of you. And now pay attention to your neck. Where is the base of your neck? At the top of your chest. Can you imagine where that is? And then there's a sweep, a curve of your neck away from the floor, going towards your skull. And then there's a point of contact, an area of contact at the back of your head. Is it behind your right eye or your left eye, or is it in the middle? In other words, is your right ear closer to the floor or your left ear closer to the floor? Is your right ear closer to your right shoulder, or is your left ear closer to your left shoulder? Our head contains these sense organs that tell us about the space around us, the light, what we hear, what we smell. And all of those have a slight bias. You know, you have an eye that's more dominant, just like you have a dominant hand. There's a little bias in the positioning of your head that's maybe a reflection of the bias in the dominance of your teleceptors. They tell you, they perceive the environment around you, and they give you information. And now very gently, roll your head a little bit to one side, just a tiny bit, the beginning of rolling your head, and observe which side did you choose. Is it to the right or the left? And then return. And again, the same question, but to the other side. But don't invest any more effort. Just do the same small movement to sense the possibility on the other side. In other words, it might be that you have more access to the space for your teleceptors to the left or to the right of the middle. And again, make note of what you feel, because our memory is short and we won't remember what we felt at the beginning in a few minutes or at the end of the lesson. So taking stock of where you are to begin with is just for comparison's sake. And now please lift one leg just a little bit. If your legs are bent, you just lift the foot a little bit. Just feel the weight and notice which leg you picked up first, and observe the weight of that leg and the way you activate your entire 600 muscles to lift that leg. You might not think you're using 600 muscles, but nothing really gets left out. Even the best breakdancers that isolate parts of themselves in movement, they're actually doing something with the parts that are not moving. So everything is connected, everything moves. And now, after you've compared the right and the left leg, bend both legs and stand your feet. Shari, I really don't see you. If you can tilt your screen down just a little bit, then I'll see. Yeah, that's better. Thank you. And the dogs and the cats are great. I love seeing them, so don't push them away. They just want to play with you. That's fine. Now, with your feet standing, observe if your right foot's closer to your buttocks or your left foot's closer to your buttocks. One of them they're not also symmetrical. And you didn't choose to make them asymmetric. It's just by virtue of the tone, the work that's going on in your muscles, you will feel one leg, one foot is a little bit closer to you. And now notice the direction that your toes are pointing. Did you set them to be parallel, or is there a slight, one foot still reflects that position of being a little more turned out or a little more turned in? Good. And now, please slowly, without moving your left foot, so your left foot stays where it is, can you put your right leg over your left leg? Cross it over your left leg. Ah, you moved your left foot. I saw that. Don't do that. Uncross your legs. If you move that left foot, you're going to change the angles, and I don't want you to do that. So just cross without, yeah, cross however you like. I don't care. If you cross your ankle, you can do that. If you cross your knee, you can do that. Whatever's easy. That's it. And now, very slowly, tilt your legs ever so slowly to the right, but not to the floor, just in the direction, just slowly in the direction of the floor. And feel how the movement of your pelvis catches your spine. And notice if you do something with your eyes. When you move your knees to the right, do your eyes and your head get involved? Now, since I said that, suddenly people are moving their head. But pay attention. Does it have to move? Have it move when you feel the desire, you feel the compulsion, you feel the invitation. And now come back and now go the other way. Very slowly, tilt your legs a little bit over to the left. Please don't reach the floor. Don't bring your foot to the floor. Don't bring your right foot to the floor. Don't get that far. Be interested in the beginning of the movement. Now, if you have your ankle crossed, it'll be a long way before your foot gets to the floor. But if you have your knees crossed, it's very soon that your right foot begins to approach the floor. And at what point do you lose control? When do you suddenly get to that place where it's like, you know, I can't really stop myself from dropping my feet to the floor? So don't go to that place. Always have the ability to reverse. A well-organized movement, a movement like this that doesn't require momentum, is reversible. At what point do you lose the capacity to reverse easily? Doesn't mean you can't reverse, but when does it become less easy to come back? And as you're doing this movement of your knees slowly to the left, what happens to your spine? How is it different when you tilt your knees to the left compared to when you tilted your knees to the right? How far up your spine do you feel the movement of your legs? Please also go to the right the next time you're in the middle. And notice how it's different. When you go to the right, it's almost the weight of the right foot sort of pulls on the left hip, pulls on the left leg. But please, again, remember, reversibility means you're controlling the action. When you lose the control, you're unable to reverse without some, holding your breath, doing something. We're really interested right now in the tilting of your legs that is, at any moment, if I were to snap my fingers, you could change direction, staying within your limit of control. You're controlling without holding, you're feeling the movement, but at the same time, you're also cognizant of being able to back out, to come out of that whenever you need. So go once right and left, without your foot touching the floor, so you can always come back. And you compare and contrast how your spine connects to your head. Does it connect better when your legs go to the right or better when they go to the left? Next time you're in the middle, you uncross your legs and you rest. But remember, I'm going to say this today, I'm going to say it many times, but I am your guide. You are in control of the action. I suggest things for you to try, and you decide when to do something or not to do something. You want to have 100% agency in what we're doing. So if anything feels, like you've done enough variations, you stop, you rest. Doing less in this class is more important than doing more. So please remember to do less as we go along. How are you resting on the floor now? If you've arrived at legs resting, how did the movements we've played with already changed your contact with the floor? How busy is your mind with everything you've been doing today? Can you let your thoughts come and go, observing them as opposed to being, I don't want to say hijacked, but in some ways our thoughts can lead us. And in fact, we can use our attention to focus our thoughts. And it's the focused attention and how you use it that is the most effective element of these lessons. The movements themselves are inconsequential. It's the how you can let go of unnecessary work, which you need to be focused to notice where you're working that's unnecessary. So now please simply stand your right foot. Bend your knee and stand your right foot. And now slowly slide your right foot over to run into the inside of your left leg. So the inside edge of your right foot touches your left leg, and then take it back. And observe, how did you do that? Did you move your knee? Did you move your foot first and your knee second? Did you move your knee first and then your foot? How is your foot sliding? Are you holding your breath to slide your foot? It's funny, but you have to reduce the friction in order to get over there. So how are you doing that? What do you use in order to reduce the friction to make your foot slide easily? Again, when I say what did you use, it's like what's essential to do that and what's not essential. What's not essential is the unnecessary work that you want to let go of and make it simpler. Simple slide over and then stay there. The next time your right foot is over there touching your left leg, or again, if it's not comfortable, don't do it. Don't touch. Be a little before you touch. And now from here, without the sole of your foot lifting from the floor, can you slide your foot along the inside edge of the left leg without your toes coming off the ground? So at a certain point, you can't keep sliding because your toes will lift. How far down do you slide while your foot stays in contact with the floor? Slow down, find out what you can let go of, what's unnecessary. How do you reduce? If you've got a sticky mat under you, that's going to make it a little trickier. You can still do it, but it's not as simple, right? So you go up and down with your right foot. And if it's uncomfortable, then do less. Maybe you can always get rid of the sticky mat and just use the wooden floor. Fold the mat up and just have it under your pelvis. Oh, or put something over it. Oh, very nice. All right. Good. Take another rest. What does the right foot feel now compared to the left? The right leg compared to the left? Notice your breath and what moves as you breathe in and what moves as you breathe out. And now bend your right leg again, stand your right foot. Slide your right foot over to the left leg. And now slide your right foot up onto your left thigh. How are you going to bring it onto the left thigh? That's it. And can you slide a little bit up and down your left thigh? Just a little bit. You'll notice that your toes point to the right and your heel stays to the, sorry, your toes point to the left and your heel stays to the right. That's normal. That's okay. Just a little bit up and down your thigh. And then pause. And now see if you can go all the way over your left thigh and put your right foot on the floor on the left side of your left thigh. Now, you might need to do other things to make that possible, which means, what could you do? You could lift your right hip a little away from the floor. You could roll yourself a little bit that way. That's it. Can you take your right foot and bring it back to the right side of your thigh? And then see if you can pick it up and bring it over your thigh again. Just go back and forth a few times. Please remember, you can move everything. I haven't said anything needs to stay still. All of you can move. What are you doing with your head? Some of you are a little like, you have the image of the doll, like the legs are connected to the pelvis, but let your whole self support the turning of your leg to go over. Yep, there we go. Now, if you look over to the left, as you take your right foot to the left, does it help you? Or does it help you to lift your right hip a little bit? Next time your right foot is to the left of your left leg, leave it there. And now, again, always judging what's comfortable and reducing effort. Can you begin to slide your right foot a little bit up and down on the outside of your left leg? Very gently, very simply. If you feel something untoward happening in your hip or you don't feel comfortable, you don't do it all. You just do a little bit. How much can you do that feels effortless and easy? And what could you let go of in effort to help you do that? All right, please uncross your leg and take a rest. Lengthen your right leg, let it all go. And now feel how your right leg, from your hip joint, from your pelvis to your foot, feels. Is there any difference in how it feels now compared to how it felt at the beginning? And once more, bend your knee, stand your right foot. And now simply pick up your right foot and put it over there on the left side. Find a spot that feels good. You just stand it on the left side. And now press. I'm going to assume you've got a good spot. So now, how would you press into that right foot? What would you do? How would you move your knee, your pelvis, if you wanted to press on it, like you wanted to put an imprint? Okay, but now I'm seeing some interesting variations. So your one thing I will say is your right arm stays on the right side of you, so you don't bring it over. So that's going to ask you to do something different. And where is your right knee? If your right knee is pointing over there to the left, how could you organize it so your right knee still points forward towards the ceiling? You won't twist as far. How much pressure? Where's the right spot to put pressure into that foot? All right, excellent. Please uncross your right leg. Rest a moment. Feel how your two legs are resting. Maybe something happened to your left leg. And now please bend your left leg. Your left leg standing. Just sense where the sole of the foot is, the inside edge of the foot, the outside edge of the foot. Where is your knee relative to your foot? Is it below your knee? Is your foot on the inside, the outside? Where is it? Can you press into your left foot where it is and feel how your left hip lifts from the ground? But not the right hip, just the left hip. I mean, you could lift the right hip too, but it's not efficient. Is your foot in a good place to lift your hip? Try somewhere else. Try your left foot in another place. Try it further to the left or further away from you or closer to you or closer to the right. How does the different position of your foot engage your hip differently? For every position you put your foot in, there'll be a slightly different motion in the ball and socket. Where's the optimal place for lifting your hip? And from when you find that optimal place, leave your foot there. Notice where your toes are pointing, where your heel is pointing. And now begin to slide your left foot over to the right leg. Notice when you change the arrangement of the foot on the floor and bring it back and forth. Can you feel how you're moving not just your foot, but in order to move your foot, you have to engage with a lot of other parts of you. We don't have a muscle to bring the foot over there. Good. Next time your foot is touching the inside of your right leg, pause. And now begin to slide your, it's okay, just to repeat, because some people are in a different way, and I don't know if it's on purpose or don't cross your leg yet, please. Just slide your, don't cross your leg yet. So your left foot, the inside edge of your left foot's touching the inside of your right thigh. And now slide your foot up and down on the inside of your right thigh. Until you feel your toes want to lift, don't go that far. Just go to that point where it begins to lift and you return. And what do you use in yourself to make that movement happen? How are you breathing? What are you doing with your jaw? Can you pay attention to make it simpler? To just feel the brushing of the inside of your left foot down the inside of your right leg, past your knee, and then back up to just a little above your knee maybe. Depends on the facility of your knee. And now pause. And can you press into your left foot where it is and feel what happens there? Gently, gently. Don't need to go to your max, just to press a little. And then when you let go, lift your left foot. After you press, lift the foot and then put it down and press again. And then lift the foot as a consequence of the press. And now the next time you lift it and stand it on your thigh, on your right thigh. It is not going to be straight up and down. It's going to be wherever it goes. And if your heel is digging into your thigh uncomfortably, don't press so much. And now can you move your knee with your foot on your thigh? Can you move your left knee right and left? That's it. Feel your whole pelvis rocking. Right and left. What does your pelvis do when you go to the right with your left knee? Does it lift? Do you allow it to lift? Are you pressing into your left elbow? Can you just make the movement come from your, that's it. Good. All right, now pause and slip your left foot over to the right side of your right leg, but allow your hip to lift. And then take it back. Bring it back to the left side of the right leg. Good. Can you go over your leg like this? Over and back. Use all of yourself. Make it light and reversible. You cross your foot, you come back. You cross your foot, you come back. What are you doing with your head? Some people are really engaging with the movement of their head, which means your whole spine is moving. And what happens if you don't move your head? So if you've been moving your head, stop moving your head. And if you weren't moving your head, move your head. Which way do you want to move your head? Where your foot's going or opposite to where your foot's going? Beautiful. Please, when you bring your leg back to the left, lengthen it and take a rest. Sense your contact with the floor. Remember, you are in charge. If you need to rest on your side, you do that. If you need to rest in another way, do whatever you need to do to recuperate. What are you sensing now? Where do you feel something has changed? Notice your breathing. Notice your contact of your pelvis with the floor. The turnout of your feet. Gently roll your head a little bit right and left and see if these movements of your legs have made any difference to the way your head is able to roll. And when your head comes to the middle, when you stop rolling, is it in a new point of contact with the floor? In terms of the ears to the ground, or the place behind your skull that feels the contact of the ground? And now please bend your knees and cross your left leg over your right leg without moving your right leg. Ah, I saw someone move their right foot. Take it back. It's something to do with, I won't get into the technical detail, but if you do move your foot, you're bringing the foot directly under the pelvis, and that will change the way your spine moves. I want your feet to be like in there parallel, and then you cross, or not even parallel. But right now, your right leg is standing. Some of you have lengthened your right leg. So your right leg is standing and your left leg is crossed over it. That's it. The first direction I'd like you to go in without falling is to the left. So the weight of your left leg brings your right knee over to the left a little bit and you come back. Please just go, if you feel your foot, the outside edge of your left foot lifting from the floor, don't go that far. Just do a little bit, just the beginning of that, and feel the movement. At the very beginning, it already goes into your spine. It already travels up your spine toward your head. And as you go further to the left, you'll feel your eyes are drawn to go somewhere. Do they, as if they're following your knee or your feet? Where are your eyes attracted to go as you do this? Maybe your head turns in the opposite direction. Maybe your head goes with the direction of your knees. And the next time you're in the middle, try the other side. Begin to tilt your legs slowly to the right. And if you're running into your furniture, just move yourself a little bit so you've got room, that you're not going to bump into things. Yep. So that you can feel the clear excursion. And for some, you really want to get that, well, not you really want to get it, but it's almost like your left foot just comes to the ground. Well, on this side, I'll let you go there if that's where you want to go. But don't try to go for flexibility and range. Go for connection. Go for connecting what happens when you tilt your legs to the left, to the right, versus when you tilted them to the left. Does it connect as well to your head, or are you connecting your head? Are you putting your head into that picture, or is it because you feel the connection coming up from the pelvis? So now you can go right and left and feel how it is going right and left. What happens in your shoulder blades when you go right and left like this? The next time your legs go to the left, to the right, see if you can stand your left foot on the right side. And if you do find the floor on the right side, keep your left foot standing and see if you can slide your right leg down to straighten your right leg. Once it goes to straight, feel what your pelvis does. It returns to the floor. And then turn your pelvis so that you could bend your leg again. Can you turn your pelvis? No, don't bend. Okay. All right. You know what? Uncross your legs, take a rest. You weren't bad, you weren't wrong. It's just I got a little excited and I want to back you up a little bit. So resting, resting on your back, just feel your two legs. Sense your breath, sense the ease, sense the floor. And now bend your left leg, bring it to stand, and cross your left leg over your right leg and stand it up on the right side of your right leg. Remember, your pelvis can lift. Remember, the rest of you can move. Good. And now that you're in that place, please move your left knee a little bit. It'll be either up and down or right and left, whatever it is that happens for you. Is it, what sort of line does your knee draw in space? So I don't know, some of you are doing something else altogether. It's your left knee that's moving right and left. Did I make a mistake? Did I talk about your right? It's your left knee. The one that's crossed over is the one that's moving. That's it. Yeah, the rest of you can move too, but it's, where is your knee going in space? Is it left, right, up, down? Is it a diagonal? That's it. Excellent. And now find your left knee pointing forward and begin to slide your left foot up and down the outside of your right leg. Just find how close you can bring it and then how far down you can take it. Again, playing with that friction. And then find an ideal spot. Where would you put your foot if you wanted to put pressure into that foot? It's not so simple to put pressure in your foot when you've crossed your pelvis like that. Okay, good. Please now uncross your leg and take another rest. Observe your contact with the floor, the pressure on the right and left buttock. Bend your knees and stand your feet. And now cross your right leg over your left. Slowly tilt your legs to the left allowing that left foot now to find the floor. We didn't do that with the left foot on the first side, but see where you can go to find the left foot standing, but without your legs collapsing to the ground. So your left foot comes to stand and it stays standing as if you were going to put pressure into that sole of the foot. When you get to that point, pause with your left foot standing and then gradually lengthen your left leg. Sorry, your right foot standing. My apologies. Your right foot standing, your left leg is straightening. That's it. That's it. And then you can adjust where your right foot is so that it stands. And now bring your left arm, if you can, bring it above your head. Rest it on the floor above your head, somewhere like it makes a line from the hand to the foot. You've made one line. And now with that arrangement of your leg, and that's it. Now simply move your left leg, simply I say, move it a little to the right and a little to the left. Slide your left leg right, left. And notice what you're doing with your toes. Your right foot stays where it is. Your right foot stays standing. It's the left leg is moving underneath the right leg, underneath the right knee. That's it. Slide it right and left. And notice what you're doing with your foot. Is it turning or is it staying pointing to the ceiling, the toes? So some of you are rocking your right knee. No, the right knee stays still. The right knee standing. It's just the left leg moving underneath the right leg. That's it. It's not a big movement. Now do it with your toes pointing at the ceiling and reach your heel away so that it's like you're standing your foot. That's it. Your left foot's like it's standing. It's moving right, left. Good. Pause wherever you are in the middle somewhere, and now wave your left arm right and left, but not your legs. Your legs are quiet. Your left arm is going right and left. That's it. Now pause. Now take your left foot to the right and your left hand to the right at the same time. So you make a big bend in yourself. That's it. And then you take your your left hand to the left and your left foot to the left so that you run into the back of that's it. So go left and right like that. Everything's bending to the left and to the right. Your left arm and leg move together. Your hand's on the floor, your leg goes to the right, your arm goes to the right, your leg goes to the left, your arm goes to the left. Just a little bit. Doesn't have to go down, Fred. Just leave your arm above your head and just wave it right and left. That's it. That's it. Excellent. Good. Good. Okay. Bring your left arm down. Let it rest. And now turn your left leg in the hip joint. Roll your left leg over your heel. Doesn't have to go right and left now. Just turns in and out, in and out. And now your knee may want to move. Your right knee may go with a little bit along with that. Good. Okay. That's a movement of your leg in your hip joint, and then your hip joint sending action into your pelvis, which rolls you a little bit right and left. Good. Please leave that. Uncross your legs and lengthen them. Your right leg, I guess. Your left's already long. Feel how your back meets the floor. Feel any changes that have happened after playing with the right leg crossed over the left, doing those movements. And now, please bend your left leg. Actually, bend both legs. Bring your right to stand as well. Leaving your right foot where it is, cross the left leg over the right knee. Bring your right arm up above your head, resting on the floor. Put your left hand under your skull, underneath your head. That's it. So your hand is cradling the back of your skull. Good. And now leave your legs as they are. They're just balancing with your right foot supporting your left leg. And now in this place, simply move your left elbow a little bit in an arc down to the left, and that takes your right arm along with it. Bring your right arm, swing it along with you. That's it. And then come back. Come back. Good. And now go a little bit to the right. Swing your right arm to the right and take your head a little to the right. That's it. So your whole spine is bending. That's very good. Back and forth. Just simply feel the work in the waist. Feel the work in your pelvis. Gently going like that. That's it. Excellent. And if your arm is in the air, Fred, just leave it on the floor. Just let your arm be wherever it is and let it wave with your head. That's it. Great. Come back to the middle. Remove your hand from under your head. Let your left arm rest. Keep your right arm long if you can. And now tilt your legs slowly to the right till your left foot comes to stand. And then lengthen your right leg. And now with your right leg long, your left leg stays standing. Move your right leg left and right underneath your crossed over left leg. That's it. Feel that now coming from the leg, the foot, up into your pelvis, into your waist. And now join that movement of your leg with your arm. So you go to the same side, to the right together, to the left together. That's it. Right and left together. All right. Beautiful. Very good. You know, when your arm goes to the left, your left arm can reach down a little bit. So when your right arm goes to the left, your left hand can reach down a little. That's good. Okay. Terrific. Good. Bring yourself back to the middle, neutral with your arms. Bring your right arm down by your side. Wait, before you uncross your legs, I'm going to ask you to roll your right leg in and out. So roll the right leg now. The heel goes in and out. And you will feel movement invited into the pelvis, but your intention is to keep your left leg standing, your left foot standing, and your right leg moving independently underneath. Can you move your right leg? So roll it. That's it. Find the middle place so that you can roll. That's it. Very good. Very good. This will isolate or make you feel very clearly where your right hip is. All right, good enough. Please, again now, uncross your legs and take a rest. Sense your contact with the floor. Notice your breathing. Notice the contact of your right leg and left leg with the floor. The space underneath your knees. The space behind your thighs. Your shoulder girdle. The placement of your head. And your breath. Where does your breath move you now? And again, very simply roll your head just a little bit to the right and a little bit to the left, and just feel how is it for that movement to be slowly initiated from maybe looking, or maybe you can imagine hearing something that your ears are turning, or you're smelling some wonderful fragrance that invites your nose to initiate the turn. Our neck is an amazing structure that can position the teleceptor, whichever one you need, your eyes, your nose, your ears, your mouth. It can orient toward a direction in space because we have this incredibly mobile articulation of the vertebra in our neck, when they're free, of course. And maybe you feel a little more freedom in the ability to organize your head now. Good. Please, one more time, bend your right leg. See how easy it is now to slide your right foot, right and left, across the floor, to the right, to the left leg, and then back. Is that any easier? And then when your right foot's in touch with the inside of your left leg, slide it up and down and sense the movement traveling up and down. Is that a little bit different? Can you stand your right foot on your left thigh now? Can you slide up and down your thigh? Yeah. Can you now slide your foot over to the left side of your left leg and slide it up and down the left side? And when you're at a place where it's not too high, not too low, somewhere in the middle, pause, and now slide your right foot further to the left, over, further to the left. You're going to have to move your right hip off the ground. You bring it to the left and you come back. Play with that. A little further to the left and then return. Good. And return. Excellent. Feel how that sequences all the way up your back to your neck and head, and then uncross your leg and let it rest. Sense the right leg resting. And now bring your left leg to stand. Slide your left foot, left and right, across the floor to run into the inside of your right leg. Is that moving a little more easily? Do you have better control? Can you feel like reducing the friction is a little bit easier than it was at the beginning? And then when you're at the inside edge of your right leg, stay there and slide your foot up and down and just feel the up and down glide of your foot in space on the floor and inside the inside of the right leg. And then stand your right foot on your left foot on your right thigh. Just feel if you can slide your foot up and down a little bit on your thigh now. And then go over to the right side of your right leg and slide a little bit up and down here. You'll notice that your foot changes its orientation. When you bring your foot towards you, your toes can point a little more to the right, possibly. And then find the sweet spot. It's not too high, not too low. And from there, begin to slide your left foot further to the right, inviting the rest of you to join in. Don't make this isolated. How do you make the possibility for your foot to glide away from your right leg? Your left foot sliding to the right. Excellent. And everything that can change in that arrangement is allowed. Your head, the only thing you don't want to do is take your left arm over to the right. All right, that's very good. Please come back and uncross your legs. Take a rest. Sense your contact with the floor. Observe places that feel different to you. Where inside you do you sense, well, that's not quite kind of what it was before? You can lift one leg and the other and see if the lifting of your legs is altered, the weight of them. And the weight on your pelvis as you rest your pelvis and legs on the floor, how does the right side and the left side compare? The weight of that heavy bone of your pelvis and the sacrum. And then the curve of your lower back, is it further from the floor, closer to the floor? And what about your ribs? Are they more even in their pressure against the floor on the right and the left of your spine? Or your shoulder blades? How are they resting? And then the placement of your head and the organization of your eyes and your ears and your nose and your mouth relative to the rest of you. As I look, I see for many of you, the discrepancies, the asymmetries are a little less now. the placement of your right arm, left leg, right leg, the turnout of your left and right leg is a little different. And now slowly observing your breath without holding your breath, bend your knees and slowly take your time to adjust to tipping to the right or the left as you slowly come from lying on your back to lying on your side, to going from lying on your side to sitting, and then continuing up slowly from sitting to standing. When you first arrive on the soles of your feet, pay attention to how your feet contact the floor. Is there a different placement? Meaning, are your heels closer together, your toes closer together? What's different in their arrangement? If you don't fix them somewhere, if you just let them be where they are, how do your feet meet the floor in their position? And then how is it that the soles of your feet contact the ground? Do you have more arch? Are you less arched? And then very simply, because now you're so much more on both legs, I can see for most of you, it takes a very small movement to get your head and pelvis over 1 foot. So go to 1 foot and feel, can you get tall? How do you get tall? Without a lot of engagement, it's just pressing into the floor and going up. And then try that on the other side. In other words, did you sort of grow a little bit in the act of these explorations on our back? And now walk a little and feel how your pelvis moves, or what you notice of the swing of your foot, or how you meet the floor as you're walking. I know our spaces are confined, but even in a small few steps, you'll feel a qualitative shift. Is there some word or some phrase or some texture or color, or what adjectives would you use to describe the sensation of walking? And then if you wish, please, I will stop the recording, but I'll let you share any observations you might have.